Alright, I am currently at Fun Spot Atlanta for my first time of the 2025 season. And actually the only time I came here in 2024 was in the middle of the winter. It was raining in the park. The only thing open was ArieForce in the arcade, and there were like maybe 4 people there. So that's not great. Anyways, I'm here today. It's still the middle of winter. However, for some reason it's 70 degrees today. The park's got a decent number of people here, and everything's actually open and firing on all cylinders, and there's definitely a lot of changes from when I came here in 2023, ArieForce opening year. So I just wanted to document some of those that I've noticed around the park, so let's take a look. So here's the park entrance here, one of the first things you'll notice, and this actually may have been done at some point last year, but they finally put up a proper fence here. It is a movable, openable fence because they do have people parked over here on days when it's arcade only. When the park is in full operation, this is a park path, and it's a parking lot when it's only the arcade days, so that's a little bit weird. But anyways, they have a proper fence here guiding you to go that way to the main parking lot, which is good because the first time I came here, they did not have that. The first time I came here, ArieForce One opening weekend, they just kind of had like barrels along this area guiding you to go, you know, that way towards the parking lot. It was not exactly great. And it looks like they may have, I may not be remembering correctly, but it seems like they've repaved some of this. The pavement looks pretty old, so I could be wrong, but I feel like I remember it being a little bit of like a gravel road going in back to the parking lot, but now it's completely paved. So the bigger thing is there's actually a proper fence instead of just some trash cans set up here. Coming over here a little bit, they do actually have a sign that says it says don't drive beyond this point. I'm gonna guess don't walk beyond this point either. But opening weekend last year, people were just walking all the way back there under the zero-G stall and everything, and nobody was stopping them. It seems like they don't really want you to do that anymore, so maybe don't, but it's kind of interesting. There's no reason to really walk back here because, you know, the closest attractions, ArieForce's entrance is all the way back there. However, they have the sign here. This is mostly to be viewed from the road, but it still kind of looks like a plaza where there, you know, may eventually be some more attractions back there, and the path continues back there, which would be awesome, being able to walk around that front part of ArieForce. So Fun Spot, if you're listening, I would love to see future expansion kind of in this direction as well. You probably have to pave more path for that, which would be more expensive, but you know, it's doable. Anyways, right now, end of 2024 into 2025 has been a rough time for a lot of coaster enthusiasts. People are very angry at the new Cedar Flags mega corporation for going through and just annihilating classic rides like Anaconda, Lava Boar. Yeah, most of these were not very notable rides, were they? But they did rip out King Ka, which is totally wild. And people are totally upset about all this, but I think we're all missing out on possibly the biggest loss of them all, which is the hell is Fun Spot's Ferris wheel. So yeah, right here is where the Ferris wheel used to be. You can kind of see where the footers used to be. It was like a temporary Ferris wheel, you know, portable Ferris wheel they had set up here, but it was pretty cool. It had like LED lights on it, like a really cool LED lighting package, and it was really fun to ride and get some. It's probably the best views of ArieForce you got from the top of the Ferris wheel, so that was really fun, and I was looking forward to getting those views again today, but it's gone. I'm pretty sure it was still here when I came in like January last year, so you know, rest in peace Fun Spot's Ferris wheel, I guess. I understand why they may have wanted to move it out of this location because, again, this is still where they park people during days during the off season. On weekdays when it's arcade only, they have people drive in and park here. So removing the Ferris wheel out of this area did free up a bit more parking, but I do wish they had moved it just to somewhere else within the park rather than, I assume that they sold it. Maybe it'll show back up later. Maybe it's just in a backstage in storage. But I haven't seen it anywhere else in the park, so I do think it's gone, unfortunately, which is sad. I actually really did like that ride. So I was actually told later in the day by somebody that had been to both of the Florida Fun Spot parks a little earlier this year that apparently the Ferris wheel is either at the Kissimmee Park or Orlando Park. I don't remember which one, but it's still owned by Fun Spot, still within the chain. They just moved it down to one of their Florida parks for some reason. Can't complain too much since we do have like the best ride in the entire Fun Spot chain right here, but I did like that Ferris wheel, so I hope we get something like that here again soon if we don't just, you know, get that ride back here at some point. I know Fun Spot likes to move around some of their smaller flat rides between their parks from time to time, so who knows, we could get it back. Anyways, just kind of starting at the back of the park here where the Ferris wheel used to be, and working our way up to the front, even though where you drive in is the back or the front, depending on the day, because this park's layout is weird. Anyways, this right here used to be Space Junk, which was ArieForce's gift shop, where you could buy a plethora of ArieForce One merchandise. But you can see that that building is now completely empty, and you can visit the arcade to purchase ArieForce souvenirs and gifts. They have a selection in the arcade pretty comparable to what used to be in this permanent gift shop. They don't have quite as much things in the arcade. There are some things missing, but you should get most of the stuff. T-shirts, all that kind of stuff. However, they are setting up a new Space Junk gift shop that is right inside of ArieForce's Plaza, which is good. It makes a lot more sense there. It's this building right here, which I believe used to be where they sold stuff for the batting cages, but they don't appear to be using it for that purpose anymore. You can see this sign right here is new, to visit Space Junk for ArieForce souvenirs and gifts. I get how that's a little confusing for people right now. One sign's telling you to go in the gift shop, one sign's telling you to go here. As of right now, in February 2024, the arcade is where you'll go to purchase ArieForce gifts. But over here, Space Junk, this is the new, what will be the new ArieForce gift shop. Again, this used to be where you would pick up or purchase your batting stuff to do the batting cages, which are still open. However, now you get that stuff in the arcade building now. But yeah, Space Junk, souvenirs and gifts for ArieForce One. So this will be ArieForce One's new gift shop. It is not done yet, but if we peek in the window, we can see a wide variety of ArieForce One merchandise in there. Some stuff that's, I have to wait for it to pass by. Some stuff that we haven't really seen before. It looks like some mugs. Lots of cool stuff in there. It's unclear right now. There is a door back there, and these kind of look like places you'll be able to like go in and look at. Come around this gate to the side, goes through that door back there. So it's unclear at this point whether this will be like a merchandise location you can walk in like a proper gift shop, or if this will be like a counter here where you can look in and order stuff, kind of like that gift shop was, just to walk up to the counter and order gifts like it's a food service location. So we don't know exactly what the final product will look like, but this will be a new ArieForce One dedicated gift shop that's actually in its Plaza, which is a location that I guess makes a little bit more sense than across over there. And I appreciate they are in general trying to spruce up ArieForce's Plaza at least a little bit here. Speaking of which, one of the other major changes you'll not see but hear in ArieForce's Plaza is they have added music. So this used to be like completely quiet back here, but now you can see there's speakers attached to all those light poles up there, which I think most of those light poles are left over from the mini golf course, but they have kept them around at least for now. And you can hear them all playing music that is thematically appropriate to the vaguely spaceflight theme of ArieForce One. Very thematically appropriate music. So that's definitely good to hear. Gives this area a little bit more energy. And I have heard occasionally they play a safety spiel over that in this plaza as well, which is good. Gives this plaza a little more life. And most of the rest of the park just plays generic pop music. So it is nice to be playing thematically appropriate music back here in ArieForce's Plaza.
Rider requirements to safely experience the attraction. Due to the restrictive nature of the restraints, the lap bar system may not accommodate everyone. We encourage all patrons to utilize the tests provided for joining to the platform.
So this is also not a thing yet, so I guess half this video is more of a preview, but they have added on-ride photos, or at least it doesn't seem to be operational yet. It probably will be at some point. So they get the sign out for it, but right to the right of the entrance and exit here, kind of under its beginning portion, here is where you will purchase your on-ride photos once the system is operational. You can see these big TVs, so I assume this will be like most parks where these TV screens will display all the ride photos from the last couple rides, cycling through them on these screens. And then if you want to purchase them, you have these kiosks here to purchase. These are similar to what I've seen at some other parks lately. So there you go. So get your photos Unfortunately, again, not working yet. But when it is done, you'll be able to pay with credit card, it looks like. Or I don't know if that's just for receipt or cash. It may be card only. I think it's card only, but whatever. So that's how you'll do that once that's all open and ready to go. Which I assume will be once they start going into peak season in March and April. We'll see. And if you are wondering where the ride photo is going to be taken once that's operational, you can see it's right there. You can see the ride camera equipment. So it's right after the Outer Banks airtime hill that goes over the station here. So kind of an interesting placement for it. But I guess it kind of makes sense because that's kind of what I thought they would have put it at the bottom of the airtime hill after the double up, or going into or out of the 0G stall or something. But anyways, that's where it is right there. That's probably just where it made most sense to run the wiring underground to actually get over here to where the photo booth is. So maybe that's why. Alright, so I'm not gonna lie, almost every time I come here I spend almost the entire time back by ArieForce, so I actually haven't been up to the front of the park that much, so I'm not as familiar with it, so I won't know as much about what's changed or what may be new up here. But what I do know is that Fun Spot Atlanta did get a new ride this year, a small off-the-shelf fair flat ride. It's in this area near the front of the park that's just the kind of like grass field area with all the little random fair carnival rides. It's just feels completely different than the back half of the park. This park's so weird because it's very small, but at the same time it feels like 3 different parks, very different styles of parks shoved together. It's very strange. Anyways, their new ride for this year is called Hook and Slice. It's an SBF Visa ride of some sort. It looks like we may not get to ride it today because it looks like maintenance is working on it, unfortunately. But there it is back there. Yeah, it's temporarily closed for some kind of mechanical issue. I guess that's what you get when you go with SBF Visa. But yeah, so it looks like they did give it like a proper concrete pad and everything. It looks like a temporary traveling ride, which I thought was a little bit strange. I thought that with the direction they were taking the park after ArieForce, I thought we'd still get a lot of flat rides, small flat rides off the shelf just because it's Fun Spot, but I thought they were going to be going more in a like permanent flat ride direction. So like the Zamperla packages we see at like the Cedar Fair parks and stuff like that. So it was weird to me that they went with something that is very clearly, a traveling model. But here it is. We might see it run a cycle in a second while maintenance is working on it. We'll see if we get to ride it a little bit later. So there it goes. It's very similar to Chance Rides has one of these. Of course, this is SBF Visa, so I assume this is like the cheaper version, which is why it's kind of funny that they went with that. But yeah, I don't know. Most SBF Visa rides I've ridden are like not bad, but like they're noticeably the cheaper versions, if you know what I mean. So I assume that's what this one will be like, although I haven't ridden the Chance Ride one that's like this. But yeah, it's got a golfing theme. That's why it's called Hook and Slice. And you can see it just kind of lifts like that and spins in a circle, and looks like something that might make me a little bit sick, but I don't know. I don't do as good with spinning flat rides, but if it opens back up a little later, I'll give it a try. Again, it's nice. It's on its own concrete pad, so they've at least tried to make it look a little bit nicer than some of these rides that are just plopped up on milk crates on the grass, but still very different than the like ArieForce style. So it'll be really interesting to see how this park continues to move forward with new additions like this. Yeah, so halfway through the cycle it stops and then continues in the opposite direction. I did see a few videos of it online. Again, it looks pretty nice. It's just weird that it's an SBF Visa. I thought they would go for something nicer. But it's a new ride. New ride's a new ride, so whatever. All right, I just rode Hook and Slice, which is their new for 2025 right here. Just an SBF Visa flat ride. Kind of felt very similar to a scrambler, especially at the beginning, like a less intense scrambler. Then it kind of picks you up, so you're kind of being thrown back and forth between the sky and the ground. I actually didn't find it to be that nauseating as someone that usually doesn't do good with spinning rides. Like this thing legitimately made me kind of sick. I didn't puke, but I got pretty close. This was fine. So I'm one person, but I didn't find it to be that bad nausea wise. If you're worried about that, it really doesn't spin that terribly fast, but it was decent enough as like a small little flat ride to just kind of fill up some space. There's nothing wrong with it. Happy to have it around, but not necessarily something super exciting to come out here for, though. All right, I do apologize for not doing my research before actually getting on site and filming this, but I don't know how I missed this, but this ride is actually used. It actually came from Funplex in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is a park that opened back in 2021 and then closed in 2024. So unfortunately only made it about 3 years, but since it was closing permanently, FunSpot got, from what I can tell, a pretty good deal buying 5 of their old SBF Visa flat rides used to, you know, relocate to the FunSpot parks. So 2 of those went to Orlando, 2 went to Kissimmee, and then this one of the 5 ended up at FunSpot Atlanta. So that kind of clears up all of my questions or confusion about, you know, this edition for FunSpot Atlanta. I thought it was a little bit of a weird choice going with an SBF Visa ride and, you know, this type of ride for FunSpot Atlanta. I just had a lot of questions about why this was chosen for FunSpot Atlanta, but that's because it wasn't really specifically chosen at all. FunSpot being the type of chain they are, with the budget they are, they're of course going to jump on an opportunity like they had with the closing of Funplex to get 5, you know, not too old used rides at an affordable price. All of them were, you know, 3 years old at the most, with the park opening back in 2021, Funplex opening in 2021 in Myrtle Beach, I mean. So unfortunately, despite only being about 3 years old, this ride did seem to have a significant number of mechanical issues. When I was there, it was closed for the vast majority of the weekend with mechanics actively working on it, and I actually saw people get stuck on it multiple times. So that's unfortunate, especially with it only being about 3 years old. I don't know if that's just because of SBF Visa having questionable quality or how it was maintained at its previous location in Myrtle Beach. Whatever the case may be, I really do hope that they're able to work out some of those kinks to get this running more reliably. But yeah, sorry I completely missed the fact that this was a used ride before I visited the park, but I guess that's just kind of what happens sometimes, the way that I record these kind of videos kind of real time on site. Some things kind of slip through the cracks there. Probably as good a time as any then to go ahead and mention another ride removal this year, other than the Ferris wheel that I actually missed, which is the removal of their Paratroopers ride, because this new flat ride actually sits on the plot of land that was previously occupied by the Paratroopers ride, which I honestly didn't even remember was there. So if you happen to enjoy FunSpot Atlanta's Paratrooper ride, I'm sorry, it's gone, and this new ride, Hook and Slice, is replacing it. Is it a better replacement and improvement? It's hard to really say because I've never ridden the Paratrooper ride, and honestly, they're both small flat rides, so I don't know if I would say this is like a huge improvement over it. I don't really know. I don't have thoughts there. So yeah, that's about it for all the new things or the changes I noticed around FunSpot compared to last time that I visited. There may have been some things I missed, so if you're a local or anything like that, or noticed some other things recently, put them down in the comments. But I just thought it would be interesting to do this as a separate video, since I did notice quite a few things they seem to be working on around the park. And it's good to see that this place is continuing to, where they have space in the budget, I'm sure, kind of add little things here or there. And hopefully over the course of the next couple of years, they can really start working this place up to being more of the park that I know that they would like it to be, you know, putting in ArieForce and stuff like that. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch a ride with you again very soon.